all the law enforcement entities across the nation doing in identifying those issues that are causing crashes, causing fatalities, so they can better focus their efforts to make our roads safer. So let's just take a look real quick. This is something that I always like to take a look at, and that is the violations. You know, what are the number one violations? Well, when you look at the violations, Nevada is no different than the rest of the country. Vehicle maintenance is always number one. That's always the number one violation that truckers are getting cited for. And it's lights. 18%, almost 18% of all violations deal with lighting. So that's really not one of those issues that is a big safety issue. Yes, I mean, I guess it can be if your tail lights are out or your lights out, but I mean, when we talk about lighting violations, it could be the lights that run the entire length of a trailer. But what this study really wants to take a look at are those violations that are going to cause crashes. And so when we take a look at those, reckless driving, you know, it's having somebody who is, you know, driving recklessly 114 times more likely to be involved in an accident. The second biggest violation is the failure to yield right-of-way. So those are the two violations. Now, those aren't violations that law enforcement can identify in an inspection. You need to have traffic enforcement identifying those behaviors that are happening out there on the road. And I'll let you know how the state of Nevada is doing in comparison with the rest of the states here in a couple seconds. So when you take a look at the violations that are most likely to cause a crash, you can see in 2005 it was the same as this year, although it went down a little. It went down a little bit. In 2005, 325% more likely to be involved in a crash if you had a reckless driving citation. Now that went down in 2011 to 64%, and then back up again to 114% in our latest study, 2018. Now, this is a great study because it also looks at age. So who are going to be your folks most likely to have those reckless driving violations? It's really kind of fascinating. You see both ends of the spectrum. It's your drivers under 30 and your drivers over 80. Those are the folks most likely to get those violations who are contributing to the crashes that we see out there. Now, we also identify by gender. So, you know, it's really interesting. My wife and I sometimes get into fights. Who's a better driver? Well, according to this, women are 20% less likely, female drivers, 20% less likely to be involved in a crash than their male counterpart. And you can see here, much less likely to get a reckless driving violation than their male counterparts as well. So when you look at, and they take a look at all different types of crashes. Now this was really fascinating to me, what the most expensive types of crashes are. As you can see here, a rollover crash is the most expensive. Now also in this study, they look at the different costs associated, you know, the damage to the truck, the damage to other vehicles, injury, legal costs. Rollover violations have the highest environmental costs of any of the other types of accidents, whether it's rear end or, you know, head on or side swipe. So those environmental costs with a rollover increase substantially, over $300,000. And you can go and take a look. You can find this study on the ATRI website at truckingresearch.com. Rebecca Brewster, Dan Murray, the team at ATRI does a phenomenal job. I think Carolyn Boyes was also involved in this study. They do a really great job at really identifying what those issues are, and really for us, give a tool to both the industry and law enforcement on where they can best focus their efforts. Now, this is what I love. I love anytime Nevada looks good compared with the rest of the country. As you can see here, we're 7th in the country in terms of how we focus our law enforcement efforts on commercial motor vehicles. So when you really want to stop a crash from happening, you have to have traffic enforcement. Traffic enforcement is 4.5 times more likely to prevent a crash than inspections. And that kind of makes sense when you look at how many accidents happen because of vehicle maintenance as opposed to driver behavior. Driver behavior is the #1 cause of crashes, and of course it's not just the truck driver. I mean, overwhelmingly it's the four-wheeler. When you have a truck and car involved, it's a four-wheeler that is the cause of that accident. But as you can see here, the Nevada High Patrol is doing a phenomenal effort in terms of focusing on traffic enforcement and really identifying those areas and those issues out there on the road that can contribute to a crash. So I just want to give some plaudits to John O'Rourke, the chief of the Nevada High Patrol, to Roy Boffman, Lieutenant Roy Boffman, commercial coordinator, and all the folks with the NHP who are out there every day, who are our partners in safety. I want to say thank you. We really appreciate you focusing on those areas, when we're talking about trucks that are going to contribute to a much safer roads, much safer environment for all of us out there. Hey, thank you very much. Appreciate you guys watching. This is our first time live streaming. This is on a new device we have called the Mevo. My first time streaming to Periscope and YouTube Live. So hopefully this works. We're also going to put this on our YouTube channel. If you have any questions, please reach out, pje@nevadatrucking.com, and let me know what you would like to hear. Thank you for watching, and everybody